Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, eat that thou findest. Eat this roll, and go speak unto the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat that roll. And he said unto me, Son of man, cause thy belly to eat, and fill thy bowels with this roll that I give thee. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. And he said unto me, Son of man, go, get thee into the house of Israel, and speak with my words unto them. For thou art not sent to a people of strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel. Not too many of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words thou canst not understand. Surely, had I sent thee to them, they would have hearkened unto thee. But the house of Israel will not hearken unto thee, for they will not hearken unto me. For all the house of Israel are impudent and hard-hearted. Behold, I have made thy face strong against their faces, and thy forehead strong against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made thy forehead. Fear them not, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, all my words that I speak shall unto thee receive in thine heart, and hear with thine ears. And go, get thee to them of the captivity, unto the children of thy people, and speak unto them, and tell them, Thus saith the Lord God, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear. Then the Spirit took me up, and I heard behind me a voice of great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of the Lord from his place. I heard also the noise of the wings of the living creatures that touched one another, and the noise of the wheels over against them, and a noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up and took me away, and I went in bitterness, in the heat of my spirit, but the hand of the Lord was strong upon me. Then I came to them with the captivity of Tel Aviv, that dwelt by the river Shabar. And I sat where they sat, and remained where they're astonished among them 7 days. And it came to pass at the end of 7 days, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I say unto the wicked, Thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood I will require at thine hand. Yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and I lay stumbling block before him, he shall die. Because thou hast not given him warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness which he hath done shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man, that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also thou hast delivered thy soul. And the hand of the Lord was there upon me, and he said unto me, Arise, go forth into the plain, and I will there talk to thee. Then I arose and went forth into the plain, and behold, the glory of the Lord stood there, as the glory which I saw the river Shabar, and fell on my face. Then the Spirit entered into me, and set me upon my feet, and spake with me, and said unto me, Go, shut thyself within thine house. But thou, O Son of man, behold, they shall put bands upon thee, and thou shalt bind thee with them, and thou shalt not go out among them. And I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, and thou shalt be dumb, and shalt not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with thee, I will open thy mouth. And thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, He that heareth, let him hear. And he that forbeareth, let him forbear. For they our rebellious house. Howdy, it's Wednesday, July 16th, 2014. This is your host, Mike Callahan, and this is the Watchman News. The reading tonight was from Ezekiel, all of chapter 3. Quite a bit of a long reading tonight, but it fits pretty well with the discussion. There is no news in 2 minutes again tonight. Apparently, yesterday they had a pretty nasty storm system move in and take out their communications tower. And I was unaware of this, but apparently the location where the news is 2 minutes is done is a rather remote location. And that was their only form of communication, the internet and whatnot. From what I understand, and I've gotten this information from listening last night to the Hagman and Hagman report, was that they had to drive 45 minutes just to even get to, I guess, a cell phone tower or a phone of some kind or whatnot, to be able to get a message out to let people know that they're okay and what's going on, and they'll be back up as soon as they possibly can. So, unfortunately, we don't have news in 2 minutes again. Please pray that they get things squared away, straightened out, and back going quickly. They are a blessing and a necessity. It drives me nuts when I don't get my news in 2 minutes. However, suspicious observers is still up and kicking. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and get that out of the way so that we can get on to the big part of the show. I thought I had it. Maybe I didn't. You guys gotta love me by now, huh? Thought I did. It went bye-bye somewhere. I had it saved, and I probably deleted it on myself, but just give me a second here and I'll get it right there for you. Alrighty, suspicious observers.
Good morning, folks. The Mobile Observatory Project is in Gatineau, Ontario tonight. Stay tuned after the news for more updates. What's this big thing entering the frame on Soho Lasco C3? That's Jupiter, moving in for solar conjunction in the coming days. The JPL orbital diagram steps back from Earth's orbit and allows us to see the current planetary geometry. Per Dr. Uyen's discussions, we might have guessed the sunspot number would plummet based on the impending heliocentric opposition of Saturn and Venus, also just days away. The earthquakes finally died down yesterday. It had been a fairly solid uptick. We did take some above average tremors in places, along with a good deal of activity in the West Pacific. It is calm now, so hopefully that locational swarm was just aftershocks from the bigger tremors the previous couple days. The June State of the Climate report is out for the United States, more of a precipitation story than anything. On average, June was a bit above average temperatures, but it was the minimum dailies that brought up the average, as our major heat maximums were absent. Breaking it down shows a solid mix of both hot and cold. Same could be said of the spring thus far, a good mix of the extremes. Looking at 2014 so far reaches back into when cold was dominating, not just here but worldwide, and taking the last full year back into 2013 reveals about the same. The top storm on planet Earth right now just crossed the Philippines into the South China Sea. Positive thoughts, please, for the island nation today as they recover and China prepares for impact. My money says New Zealand is a cold place to be right now with that northern flow from the Antarctic. Southern Australia watching another cresting cloud line here. There are 2 points of note in Europe at the moment, the North Atlantic low and a disturbance over Greece and other parts of Eastern Europe. When we pull the infrared, we can see both the convergence and the storm cell quite easily. Back across the pond, that low up in Canada is weakening, and while still cold, is not pulling south as hard now at the west side. That's good news. The top watch here today will be in the central states, where the northern flow out of Texas and the Gulf will bring the energy for severe weather tonight. Hopefully no tornadoes, but they are possible. We will start space weather with the solar wind. Telemetry shows that the coronal hole stream is ending as the speed falls. We already watched geomagnetic disruptions wane with the density. Solar flaring on the floor. Not so surprising when you see that the sunspot number is plummeting, as we mentioned at the start, but still a shock for solar maximum. The southern coronal hole is in its last days of geo-effective position, and positive influence is about to return with the cresting opening to the north. The backside of that one appears to reach near the equator, but that's a little bit tougher to see here in 211 angstroms. So folks, if you are in Gatineau, or you're in Ottawa, or any of the surrounding areas, please check out observatoryproject.com or the event link I provided right below this video. Love to see you guys starting at 6 p.m. right after work. Tons of emails asking when people can renew their memberships to the premium site. Our first day was July 24th, 2013. In 8 days, the website will be 1 year old. We indeed hit or exceeded every goal or content promise we made, especially with close to 65 hours of audio discussion. We'll do it again this year. Northern filament no longer a concern. Southern filament has my full attention. You stay in your seat, big guy. Eyes open, no fear, at 6:20 a.m. Eastern Time, and that's the news. Be safe, everyone.
Alrighty. Had a good report today. Again, as always, the link is down there in the About tab. If you want to see the accompanying video to that. Does an amazing job. I congratulate him on his first year of his website. I forget what it costs, but it's a minimal amount for the information. It really is. I couldn't stand behind what they do enough. It's just like news in 2 minutes with full spectrum survival. Absolutely wonderful. This isn't all about me. This isn't all about me getting views or I'm just trying to get information out there and news out there in another avenue, because I know I have certain people that I listen to on internet radio and whatnot, and I know there's others that I don't care to listen to, and so I'm just hoping maybe that I will appeal to a few people to keep that information going. You know, plus I have a little bit of a different approach to it. As I had said, this is not going to be a professional show. It's not going to be a scripted show. It's just going to be, here I am. Okay. I think some people be a little more comfortable with that. I personally like to let God lead. That's what my intention is to let God lead it. And I think he did some leading today, to be honest. Let me double check to make sure I don't have anything right up front that I need to get to first. I don't believe so. So let's get on with this. Not quite sure how I'm going to do it. 45 minutes left, and in that amount of time, I've got to convince you that I'm not an absolute nutcase. Fun, fun, fun. So today, now I'll start out with telling you how my day went, by the way. Minding my own business. At least I like to start out with that line. And kind of a normal day. Everything's going pretty good. Real good, actually. And probably about 3 o'clock, I'm going to guess, I was talking with Michelle. And I'm like, I don't even have headlines up. I don't have the show scheduled on YouTube yet. And she's like, well, you need to get busy in doing that. And I'm like, and for some reason, I just, it wasn't that I was putting it off. It was not intentionally. It literally takes me a few minutes to get that stuff together. It's nothing. It's easy. But something was just holding me off. And so anyway, I'm on Evil Book. I like to call it Evil Book because I see much more evil on there than good. And I'm on there, and a video pops up. Maybe before I go into that video, let me give you just a little bit of my background and what I'll say what happened to me. Okay, I was in high school, and had a wonderful teacher, history teacher, by the name of Steve Moore, Mr. Moore. And that teacher changed my life. I didn't care about government. I didn't care about this thing or that thing. I'm going to be real frank with you. I told you I was always going to be real with you. I'm always going to be honest with you. The only two things I really gave a damn about, pardon the language, was getting high, smoking weed, and playing guitar. Those were really my two main interests. I did like to learn, but not about history, not about the government. I like to learn about a lot of other stuff, but those two topics just absolutely, they were as boring as math to me. So anyway, this teacher, uh, he had pulled me out into the hallway and had a discussion with me, and I'm not going to go into the whole story, but basically he was wanting me to give him a chance, to give him an honest chance, and I agreed to do that, and it changed my life forever. And I owe a lot of gratitude and a lot of debt to Steve Moore, Mr. Moore. Uh, Probably one of the best, absolute best teachers that I could have, or that somebody could even ask for. Wonderful man, and very intelligent man. Anyway, he had convinced me to keep an eye on things. Um, he pointed out to me the Holocaust when we studied it, and he made sure that I knew. I don't know what it was that this man seen in me, what made him, I don't know, point me out and say, hey, you pay close attention to this, because he would do that all the time. You know, and it's not like he would tell the whole classroom. He would tell me, you know, hey, keep an eye on this. Well, when it came up time we were about ready to discuss the Holocaust, it was one of those times. He was like, keep an eye on this, you know, pay close attention. And I'm like, okay, why? And he's like, because you're going to see it again in your lifetime. And that stunned me. I didn't know a lot about the Holocaust, and I still don't. I'm not an expert on it, but I knew the idea behind it. I knew the gist of it, and I knew it wasn't a good thing, and I knew a lot of innocent people died, and so he got my attention, and so I paid very close attention when we went over the Holocaust in school, and I've been paying close attention to our world as we know it ever since then. I want to say I was 17 at the time that happened. I'm 42 now, and I've been keeping a close eye on things for a while. So I'm sorry it took me a little bit to get to where I'm at. Again, I told you I had 45 minutes to convince you that I'm not crazy. Okay? Good luck with that, huh? As I put in the description before, you know, when I scheduled the show, I hope you brought your tinfoil, and I hope you didn't get the cheap stuff either. I hope you got some good quality Reynolds stuff, and I really hope you got that freezer, that freezer foil, the thick stuff, because you're gonna need it. So anyway, let's get going with this. So as I was saying earlier, me and Michelle talked. I didn't have a show scheduled. It's easy to pick out headlines and everything else, but this show's not just about headlines. I know it's called the Watchman News. Sometimes the most important news you could know isn't necessarily the top headlines. The reason I picked Ezekiel 3 is because I have to get this stuff out there, and I hope you listen. And the only thing I can say is the same thing I have to say when it comes to my family with my children. You know, I've known about these things incrementally happening, and I know a pretty good idea of the game plan in the end and everything else. And I made sure for instance, my soon-to-be ex-wife, I made sure that she knew. Of course, she was, you know, yes, I was a prepper. We were all, as a family, we prepared, you know. Blood's not on my hands. And I'm not going to let it be on my hands. Just as Ezekiel 3, I mean, that's the easier way of saying it. Um, but I'm going to make sure that I spread the message to you. I've made sure that I spread it to my family. And that's all I can do. The rest is up to you. The rest is up to God. I can't do any more. And I really do wish I could. Believe me, I wish I could. My boys are, I believe, over a couple 100 miles away or so from me. I've never really Google mapped it or anything, or gotten driving directions. Um, there's just nothing I can do. Uh, Heck of a rock and a hard place, but not focus on that. But let's talk about what I ran into. So I was on Facebook, and this was trending as well as it just popped up in my feed. The new Weird Al Yankovic video, and who doesn't love Weird Al? I mean, come on. Weird Al's been around since I was in high school, and I've always received him with a very warm welcome. I get a kick out of what he does. He does a pretty good job of it. But the video that came out today was a bit, I don't even know what the best words to say. I really don't. Dark, and very dark. Started out kind of simple. It started out almost innocent, and then it turned weird real quick. Now, holy cow! Pardon me, folks. I'm sorry. I just pulled it up. Is what I did, and I'm going to go through it with you. I just pulled it up. Is what I did earlier, and I made comment to this. Michelle could vouch for me. I said something to her about 400,000. I said something to her about nearly a 500,000 views. Okay, this video, and you'll see here in a second, came out today, July 16th, 2014. It is now setting at 1,157,118 views. Now let me tell you what, I've been around YouTube for a while. It's not even been 24 hours since this video's been released. You figure it out. This video is getting pushed so extremely hard over social media of all forms, whether it be Twitter or Facebook. MySpace might reach a couple people, but it's getting pushed. I'm sure it's probably on the news. I don't watch TV, so and I don't watch like local news channels or any. I get my news from trusted sources. Anyway, so it's a new music video. Of course, he does parodies. If you don't know Weird Al. And this one's called Foil, and it's a parody to the song Royals by Lord. Not the Lord, mind you. Just wanted to make sure I made that clear. Pardon me, I have a drink of coffee here. So anyway, I don't know how to really do this because YouTube's pretty mean anymore. And they like to spank people for doing about anything. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start this maybe about halfway through, because the first part of it is not quite so important as what the rest of it is. So I'm going to start this, I do believe, about halfway through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how crazy I am. I'm going to incrementally stop the video and take you down a few rabbit holes, if you will. Okay? And hopefully, I mean, it's going to be a fun one, folks, because I'm cramming years and years and years and years of research and all that into a little bit, into a show that I'm trying to do within an hour's time. And not real possible, so just bear with me. So let me get, hopefully YouTube doesn't flag me for copyright, but this is important, so they can bite me. That's a real Christian thing, isn't it? Let me see here. Put it back. All right, as you can see, I wasn't joking about the amount of views. I believe you can see my little cursor thingy down there. I wasn't kidding about the views. 1,157,118 views. This video came out today, July 16th, 2014. So it starts out, the video starts out, and they're talking about, he's singing about leftover food, like at a restaurant, and how he takes it home. And when he gets it home, you know, blah, 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 he doesn't use baggy saran wrap and all this other stuff. He uses, of course, aluminum foil. Okay, so it's all good, and it seems normal, and I love Weird Al, and I'm rocking to it. I just recently got introduced to the actual real song, and I like the song. But let's take it from there. It takes a dark turn, but where we're going to start out, I want you to pay particular attention because it's part of the tinfoil here, my tinfoil, I should say, because it's going to start out, we're talking about tea and a British accent. Pay very close attention to that because that's an important part of this.
Eat it when you're ready, but maybe you'll choose a refreshing herbal tea. Look, hold on.
Okay, so I told you I was going to start out where I'm starting it out was with tea. If you do your digging, and you dig hard enough, and you dig long enough, you'll find out that those that are actually in control of what's going on in the world, not just this country, I'm talking about the entire globe, with the banking systems and big corporations and all that, when you dig, what you will find out is when you reach the top of that, and I'm going to use this as a pun, the pyramid, you will find the royal family. And you will also find people in the royal family that you never knew existed because they're kept out of the limelight. See, the Queen and Prince Charles and whatever all their names are, I really don't know because I discount them. They aren't the top of the food chain there. The ones that are at the top of the food chain, you wouldn't know most of their names, and most of their names aren't spoken. You know, and I'm talking above the Rockefellers. I'm talking above the Pope. Yes, I did say the Pope. Dig. This stuff's out there. You just got to look for it. But anyway, so I took particular notice that it happened to be he was having tea, Earl Grey tea, and spoke with a British accent right before this video turns to the dark side a little bit. So let's continue.
By the way, I've cracked the code.
By the way, I've cracked the code. That's a little bit important.
I figured out the shadow organizations and the Illuminati know that they're finally primed for world domination.
So, you may or may not have heard of the Illuminati. If you haven't, I suggest you get out from underneath the rock a little more often. I apologize if that's offensive, but it's been long enough that time's gone on. If you listen to this, you obviously have been on the internet. Most people have at least heard of the Illuminati, okay? It is a group of people, of elite people that they currently run the world, and they really don't have good plans for us. But anyway, I just want to let you know, yeah, they do. They're after world domination. Let's continue.
Got black helicopters coming across the border, puppet masters for the New World Order. Be aware, There's always someone that's watching you. And still
Okay, so there's always someone that's watching you. Again, this is a parody. This is supposed to be fun, right? Yay! Think about the information that they've even came out on the lame news about with the NSA and Edward Snowden and the stuff's out there. You just got to wake up and pull your head out of the sand.
the government won't admit they faked a whole moon landing. Thought control rates, psychotronic scanning. Don't mind that. I'm protected because I made this hat from...
And that's pretty funny. But anyway, I don't think that they can scan brain signals or anything like that. Really? What about all these bionic things they're coming out with? You know, they just released information or just released some kind of thing to where a guy's got this arm that is completely controlled by his mind. I just seen that just a few days ago. And that's old news. In reality, that's all old technology. They've got fighter jets that can be flown and the weapons systems be operated by thought. It's called the F-35. You know, the same fighter that everybody's throwing a fit about because they're spending so much money on? Yeah, you don't really realize the technology that's behind that aircraft. Let me tell you. I don't think they're having so many problems. There's so much propaganda and all that. You know, yeah, there may be some issues with it, or they're trying to tweak some things, but let me tell you what, if that's true, they get that particular aircraft squared away, and it's just astonishing. Most people don't know in detail about the F-35. I'm an airplane nut. I love airplanes. I love flying. I used to fly ultralight airplanes. I was heavily involved in Microsoft Flight Simulator for many years. Had a website, blah, blah, blah. I love planes. 35 is amazing. But let's continue.
Aluminum foil, where it had this foil lined, in case an alien's inclined to probe your butt or read your mind. Looks a bit peculiar, seems a little crazy, but someday I'll prove there's a big conspiracy.
So, kind of crazy, huh? Let you see the stupid ending. Yeah. Okay. But, anyway, so, yeah, I know, it's just a fun video, it's innocent, blah, 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 right? Wrong. Wrong. It's not. There's a lot of things that were in that. I just covered a story, was it Friday, I believe, about a small town of Livingston, Illinois, to where the Department of Homeland Security, and I mentioned again last night's news, swooped in Black Hawk helicopters and all that over a guy that had inappropriate videos on a computer, okay? People. This isn't conspiracy theories. It is not conspiracy theories. Technically, it is. The thing of it is, there's a bad stigma that's attached to that word. Okay, there is nothing wrong with the word conspiracy theory, but the way they attach the stigma to it, every time you say the word, somebody's like, oh, yeah, in that case, you know. So, anyway, oh, trust me, it gets better. It's better. Let's watch this martial law video. Well, it's they call it martial law convoy. It's military vehicles that are driving down the road. But let me just play this uninterrupted for you and just check it out. It's interesting.
What's up, guys? This guy put this on his Facebook page yesterday, and this is disturbing to me because this looks like a martial law convoy, fully weaponized, coming out of Kentucky into Tennessee, where I live. And you can watch this. Every one of these vehicles are armed to the teeth. And I'm going to tell you, we have a military base in Clarksville, and they ain't nowhere near Clarksville, nowhere near it. And if you watch this convoy, the guy on the video said, man, it looks like they're preparing for martial law. Man, I'm telling you, the more this stuff comes out, the more this stuff that goes on, it looks like they are preparing for something. But y'all just look at this video. And what is really going on?
What the hell is them rods sticking up there?
It's antennas.
Awesome.
It's kind of scary, man. I mean, this is kind of what you'd expect when, like, martial law gets put into effect, or there's something going on here in, like, the movie Red Dawn or some crap. See, they're practicing, they're doing something, because wouldn't you expect them to be moving this stuff on tractor trailers instead of driving it up the interstate? They're practicing, they're getting ready for something. Just crossed over Tennessee, over Jellicoe Mountain, and then boom, all of a sudden we got these guys. I'm putting this on Facebook. Is this the last one?
Dang, that was packed down bang.
Yeah, something's going on, guys, that we don't know about.
Now, you know, anything I could say, of course, is just speculation or whatnot. I don't know. You know, notice that this video was uploaded yesterday. All right. Huh. My goodness. My goodness. And you know, it could be drills that they're doing. It could be, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. A lot of stuff. Now, I have a day that kind of concerns me, and I'm not one to throw out days and, you know, this is going to happen this day, this is going to happen that day. I'm not one to do that. Obviously, something is going on. There are 1,000,001 things that indicate that, and if you've lived in my shoes for the past 25 years, I've been keeping my eye on things. See, there's a lot of people that know me, so to speak, but they don't know me. There's a lot of, you know, people I went to high school with, people I've been involved with on the internet in one form or another. I've done a lot of things on the internet, so I've got all kinds of different friends from different walks of life, from different means that I know on the internet. But let me tell you something. I was with my soon-to-be ex-wife for 10 years, and now this is by choice, mind you, but my wife didn't even really know me. She never took the time out to get to know me. Again, it was a by choice kind of thing. But there are a couple people here and there that got to know me, that paid attention to what I said, but we weren't real, you know, none of those people that I ever get really close to. I've really spent the last 25 years of my life trying to learn as much as I can, be on top of things as much as I can, and I never really did understand why. I didn't understand why until a few years ago, when it all started making sense to me, and what my role was, what my job on this planet was, what I was supposed to be doing. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like I say, you know, that blood ain't going to be on my hands. It's not. I'm going to make sure that your blood's not on my hands. I'm going to make sure my children's blood's not on my hands. You know, anybody that my words reach. So, you can call me crazy, call me nuts, call me anything you want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. So anyway, let's move on to proving to you that I'm not crazy. Not that I really care. You know, I really don't. I want you guys to know this stuff. I want you to understand this stuff. But I'm definitely not going to beat myself up over somebody has too big of an ego or too much pride to figure it out for themselves. Because that's all I hope to do, is give you enough information that you can kind of put two and two together. Because I don't expect to be able to convince convince somebody something that they don't already believe or think or know, or But for those of you that I can reach, those of you that do want eyes to see and ears to hear, welcome. Pay attention. Next, go on to yeah, this one. Now, this I'm just going to let this video play through as well. Please pay attention. Watch the video, because there's a lot of things that are written on the screen. I am going to interrupt a few different times, because this guy, although he done a wonderful job, he excuse me, he missed a few things that I picked up on. He done a wonderful job, though. He really did. The first thing right out of the gate, what I'm going to tell you is, this lady particularly mentioned that she's just doing what she's what she's told to do. That's one of the very first words that are, what she's going to say is that she's just there doing what she was sent to do. All right, so you'll get it. And there's a weird overtone to all of this. Now, this is a woman that gave a speech. Her name's Christine Lagarde. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. She's with the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, I believe is what that stands for. Don't see anything. I think it's the International Monetary Fund. Anyway, basically, they quote-unquote help countries out that are in financial need. Basically, what happens is the system runs countries into debt, okay? And then, oh, we need help, just kind of like the United States is right now, Oh yeah, bring them immigrants over. Oh, they're not immigrants now. Now they're refugees. Folks. Anyway, what they do is they financially run countries into the ground, and they say, oh, well, we'll help you. Okay, but sign this contract. And then what they do is countries say, oh, well, it's me. We need the help. We'll sign our names. And what they do in that contract is they take over basically the country. They take over all your resources. They take over land. They take over what they do. And they've been doing it to lots and lots of countries. And guess what? They're knocking on our door now. So welcome them, won't you? Anyway, this lady was sent to give a speech. Let's just get going with it. Notice right here, I'm going to stop. The 15th of January, 2014. That's important to something I'm going to point out here a little bit later that this guy missed. And it's huge. It's huge. A big deal. Okay, let's go. I'm going to make me some coffee. Enjoy.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup. As you can tell, I do as I'm told, and I thought I had to stand up at the time when my immediate predecessor would sit down, and clearly I failed. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me with you. I would like to thank the National Press Club, and especially President Angela Grilling-Keane, for not only inviting me to this prestigious venue, but essentially presenting the outline of what I want to talk to you about now. So it's as if we had prepared that together, which we have not. Now let me first of all, of course, begin by wishing you all a Happy New Year. I guess it's still time to do that, given that we are just exactly halfway through between our Western New Year and the Lunar New Year, which will loom in a few weeks' time. I think it's also appropriate to wish ourselves a Happy New Year, given what I would like to talk to you about, which has to do with the global economy and what we should expect for 2014. Now,
All right, hang on. Numerology some of you may or may not know, excuse me while I set my coffee down and get set down myself. Some of you may or may not know that it's kind of tinfoil hat stuff in a sense. Myself, personally, I have not paid a ton of attention to numerology and stuff like that because, well, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Now, to say whether or not it has an effect on everything, and I do believe it does, and those in power do love to play with numerology. And if you do your research on it, you know, yeah, there's a lot of quote-unquote numerologists out there that are always jumping and saying this and that and the other thing, and nothing happens on these dates or that date or whatever. But let me tell you something. You're going to wish that you had a tinfoil hat the day that something does happen. Okay, so I keep my mind open, and I have a little heightened sense of security around any certain dates or events. I've got my ear to the ground. I listen to a lot of people. Again, I don't believe, I don't wrap my house up in aluminum foil and plastic every time somebody mentions a date or something. But there are some that I do pay close attention to. And the date that's mentioned in this video is one of them that I will be paying close attention to. Let's continue.
Most of you will know that if we think about So, if we think about 2014, all right, I'm just giving you 2014, you drop the 0, 14, 2 times 7. That's It will also mark the 7th anniversary of the financial market jitters that quickly turned into the greatest global economic calamity since the Great Depression. The crisis still lingers. Yet, optimism is in the air. We've left the deep freeze behind us, and the horizon looks just a bit brighter. So my hope and my wish for 2014 is that after those 7 miserable years, weak and fragile, we have 7 strong years. I don't know whether the G7 will have anything to do with it, or whether it will be the G20. I certainly hope that the IMF will have something to do with it.
Okay, that's where I'm going to stop and interrupt. This video, or this lady did this speech, and this gentleman that did this video, again, he done a wonderful job, but he missed this. She gave this speech to the International Press Club, or whoever they were, in January of 2014. Okay, that was before the Russian and Ukrainian crisis. Okay, it was not the G7, it was the G8. It only became the G7 after Russia and Crimea and Ukraine all had that big blow up, and they kicked Russia out of the car, so to speak. Then it became the G7. But in January 2014, it was most definitely still the G8. Huh. Obviously, this lady's some type of psychic or something. She obviously knew something that the rest of the world didn't, or the most of the rest of the world. So, that tinfoil, amazingly, is starting to be a little bit more transparent. And if it's not, go back and listen to what I just said. Check it out. It wasn't always, well, not always has been, but it's the G8. Meaning 8 countries, okay? 8 countries are involved. Okay? But in January, before Russia was kicked out, she referred to it as the G7. Think on that a little bit, and let's continue the video.
I don't know whether the G7 will have anything to do with it, or whether it will be the G20. I certainly hope that the IMF will have something to do with it.
So, I've spoken about the fall of the economy. Several of these videos that I have made, or at least I believe I have, and if I am mistaken, I apologize, because I really do feel that that is something that is absolutely looming right around the corner. If you want to watch this guy's video, I don't believe I linked it in the about, but you can search his name there, Acithwote. Search it on YouTube, or the video subject, Occult Message and Speech. That way you can watch it for yourself. He mentioned the different links. Let me get to that. He mentioned the different, stuff that he has, the references and stuff. He's also got a link to the full video of the speech. Wow. I mean, all I can do is put this information out there. try and lump as much of it together as what I can. And I'm going to run a little bit over, I think, tonight, because it's important. Let's go on to the next thing. I don't have a whole lot more for you. I want you to see what's going on. I want you to see in that video I played with Weird Al Yankovic, you know, with the Black Hawk helicopters. Let me take you down a quick rabbit hole. Won't take but a second. Let's open up another page here, and let's do military exercises around U.S. Okay, and oh no, I did get it. No, I didn't get it right. Let's see here. I can spell, folks. I'm not setting directly in front of my keyboard. It makes it a little harder to type. But anyway, if you go and you do that, you will find out, and I may not have used the best search term in the world, but you can go to places like InfoWars and stuff like that. See, this is all talking about different countries. See, it's funny because it's bringing up other countries and stuff like that. And that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for like Tampa, Chicago, St. Louis. And we can bring it up. Military training exercises. Let's go St. Louis. Okay, as an example. And you'll see, I mean, right here's the local, you know, news channel here, ksdk.com, military training exercises in St. Louis County. Military rolls tanks on the St. Louis streets. This is no secret. Tampa was another location. Again, bam, right there you can see. Was it Austin, Texas? I mean, it's amazing the different places that all these exercises has gone on. I don't think I put in Chicago. That was another place. There's the InfoWars link. You could go somewhere like InfoWars or something and type in probably military training exercises in their search bar, and you'll see all these different cities and stuff. If you haven't already heard about all this stuff, they are training. You know, one thing, and I'm not former military or anything like that, but people that are former military will tell you that they're always preparing for the next battle. And when they train, they always train for the next battle. Well, that only makes sense. So why are they training in American cities? You know, why do they have a base now? I want to say, I don't know if it's North Carolina, somewhere around that area. They've got a military base that is, it's done up exactly like a city, like an American city. A whole city that they're training at. That they can do so, that they're not in and around the people. But the things that they're doing in and around the people, like in Tampa and St. Louis and all, is dangerous. Flying those choppers around like that, you know, all the lights out, nighttime, swooping down, shooting, and they may have blanks, so be it, you know, but shooting their weapons with even with blank rounds in them. Even the fear factor and the intimidation factor is just astonishing. Folks, it's so many levels. It's training, it's desensitization, it's so many different things at the same time, trying to get the public used to seeing it. It's crazy. And a lot of people they're too busy watching their TV shows or their sports or whatever you're doing. My goodness. My goodness. People like me don't need tinfoil. We don't. We need help. And it's already, I'm going to tell you right now, it's already too late. We can't stop what's going to happen. There ain't no kind of protest that's going to do it. In fact, that's probably just going to inflame the situation. Revolution? Yeah, right. Okay. What are we going to do? you know, as civilians, whether you agree or don't agree with the Second Amendment, and firearms and all that, we've got pea shooters. They've got Hellfire missiles on drones. That's a fair fight. That there's not, pardon me for taking a drink of coffee, but there's not a whole lot we can do. The only thing that we can do, and the same thing I'm trying to impress to all of you, is get your house in order. Whether it be with, well, and I say whether, and I mean in all ways, actually. You need to get your house in order mentally, physically, and spiritually. You got to get right with God. I'm telling you that right now. You better get right with God, because there is no other way. If you fail in any one of these steps, you're not going to succeed in this. Get right with God. Get right mentally. Stop watching all the junk that's on TV. Stop getting all riled up from this, that, and the other thing that really don't matter in life. And mentally focus, learn, educate yourself on things like water purification, on how to cure meat, on how to do this, on how to do that, on survival. Your family depends on this. And yeah, you're going to need to, in some ways, get physically prepared as much as you can, whether that means buying supplies or this and that and the other thing. Getting some exercise in. Lord knows I need to be doing some of that myself. But get yourself a good quality knife. Get yourself this, that, and the other thing. You know, make sure you have materials for fire starting and all that. Go to a million YouTube channels to tell you all about survival and preparing and stuff like that. But I'm going to add right now, I'm going to add something to all that you're going to hear, because you never do hear about it. And it is indeed one of the most important things. It's as important as air. And that's light. Preppers will always sit there and they'll talk to you about how you got to have adequate shelter. You have to have clean water. You have to have food. And that's true. That's correct. I'm not discounting any of that. But the one thing that you never hear preppers harp about is light. Light is up there with water. Light is up there with air, probably closer to air. Because without light, you're bumming. You can't see to prepare that food. You can't see to get this or that or the other thing together. Sure, you might be able to put your AR-15 together and pull it back apart 100 times with your eyes blindfolded in 15 minutes. That doesn't matter. Okay? That's fine when you know where all the parts are. What happens if that table gets knocked over or whatever, whatever the case may be, and you have no light to find them parts? So you need light. And I'll also remind you that the very, very first command that God gave in the Bible, the very number one first command was, let there be light. So think about that. Light's very important. But make sure you get your house in order. Make sure you prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually, and make sure you're ready for this stuff, because it's coming, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. There ain't no revolt. There's nothing, no protests. There's nothing. You just better brace yourself and be prepared to take care of your family. And I would really suggest highly that people go beyond their own families. I would really highly recommend that you build small communities, because one family is just not going to do it. Not going to be able to do it. You can think you're the Lone Ranger all you want, but eventually you're going to run out of this or that, or you're going to need somebody else. You're going to need, even if it's for security, defense, or any other. I mean, you're going to run. Yes, a person can survive by themselves. It's possible. But most of us don't have those skills. I've been studying this stuff for years now. I would like to think that I have built up a fair amount of knowledge on the subject. I don't have a lot of experience in it, so I can't really say I have the skills, but I have the knowledge. And I'm smart enough to know that I'm not going to try to do this alone. So hopefully can convince others not to do it either, or try to do it. We need to come out of this as humanity. We need to come out of this as mankind, and not just worry about the tribal attitudes of this is mine, this is, this is nuts. This is nuts. So anyway, let me continue real quick. Again, I've about got everything covered here, but this goes more into show what I was speaking of with them getting people used to things. We'll start it out with a YouTube video. This is Greenville, North Carolina. Yeah. So we'll play their video and then go from there.
If you were in Greenville today, you may have noticed a heavy police presence outside the bankruptcy court. We got several calls, so of course we checked it out. Several Homeland Security cars were stationed outside of the bankruptcy court and courthouse in Greenville, but not because there was a danger. Homeland Security officers tell 90 Your Side they were there as part of their community outreach to let people know that they are in the area. They also were there to remind people that if they see something, say something, especially when they see anything suspicious happening outside of a federal building.
See something, say something. Yeah, it seems like, and you got to understand, I don't buy the whole Edward Snowden deal anyway. But like Edward Snowden, huh? You see something, say something. Like Manning, Private Manning. Anyway, I'm sorry. You got to laugh. At some point, you either laugh or you go crazy. One of the two. And well, I went crazy a long time ago, so I don't think I can do it again. Anyway, little humor. So this is what they're doing. They're getting used to, or getting us used to their presence. All right, because we need them, right? We can't. We without these guys, we can't be safe. Because the police do such a good job. That your normal police do such a good job of protecting people. When they come and clean up the mess from what happens. We became a nation of people that are no longer responsible for ourselves. And that is a very, very dangerous precedent to set. Very dangerous precedent. Because you are the only one that can truly protect yourself and your loved ones. Really. Seriously. It's on you. I'm not saying that a federal agency can't help secure our country, but if just do the math, just wake up, look, everybody getting molested that wants to fly on a plane, except for immigrants that want to come to the country, but yet our southern border is completely wide open. So you really do think that our federal government is concerned about your security and your safety? Time to take the rose-colored glasses off. It really is. They're no more concerned about your security as what a lot of you are probably concerned about a guy down the block's security. And we have to change our mindset. We have to change that. I was telling Michelle earlier a story about something that happened in my past. It was just interesting little things about my life. And I kind of had to joke around with her because I mentioned, that I was a young child. I was in the house by myself. My parents were over at the next door neighbor's house, sitting out in the front yard in lawn chairs, just talking. That's what people did. They didn't sit inside their house on their phone, on their computer, or in front of a TV. Everybody got out of the house and they visited with one another. It was a wonderful, wonderful thing. I can still remember those days. It was awesome. And I know there's people here and there that do it and stuff like that, but it's not a normal everyday thing. So I urge you all. This is one way you can start preparing. Just walk out your front door, go walk over to your neighbor, knock on the door, and get to know them. Introduce yourself, say hi, shake their hands. Get to know them, because that person may be there to help save you, or you might be able to help save that person. don't know. It's crazy things going on, and the world can change at the blink of an eye. I've been a little bit on edge with the stuff in Israel and stuff like that because, again, the world can change in the blink of an eye, and it just doesn't take that long. You know, if you don't think Iran's got nuclear capability, you're silly. Okay? And so if they decide to get a wild hair up theirs, on or do something or another on Israel or whatever, there's going to be counteroffensives and then other counteroffensives. And literally within an hour's time, the face of this planet could be changed forever. So we are in very, very delicate times. Very delicate times. You know, we got people that are the elites on this planet that are playing games above and beyond everything else that's going on. So I don't know what else to say. Hopefully in coming shows I'll be able to explain a little more, explain a little better, show you some more things. I hope we have the time for that. I really do. They mentioned in that one video the 20th, that's 4 days away. Again, within an hour, the entire face of this planet can be changed. So you don't think in 24 hours we could lose our entire currency system and this country run amok? That's pretty egotistic thinking, and it's not thinking. I don't know what it is. It's burying your head in the sand. That's exactly what it is. You know, several months ago, EBT cards, food stamp cards, they had a glitch. Supposedly it was a glitch. I think it was a temperature check. And just hours, there was rioting, there was looting, there was, in just such a short amount of time. Think. And before you jump and start criticizing that person that's got that food stamp card, I'm going to ask you how you would like your family to start. Don't give me no crap about they can just go get a job. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Just like I seen pictures on Facebook today about, you know, criticizing people. You know, if you don't want to make minimum wage, don't work a minimum wage job. Oh yeah? My question to the person that posted that is, are you the one supplying the above minimum wage jobs? Because if you're not, then you need to shut the mouth. Seriously. I mean that. With all my heart do I mean that. People have their heads, and by the way, and I'm not going to out this person or anything like that, but this person, number one, belongs in a militia, right? She's supposed to have your best interest in mind, right? Number two, he's supposed to be a critical thinker, and it doesn't appear to me that he's done a whole lot of thought. We have to stop the tribal attitudes. You know, if you pick to be a liberal or a conservative, you've already made a mistake. I'm telling you that right now. Stop picking sides. The only side you need to pick is the side with God. Okay? And I guarantee you that both liberals and conservatives have steered pretty far away from that side. You don't need to be right. That doesn't be godlike. Or try to be godlike. Christ-like. Be loving. Be caring. Think for yourselves. Try for a change, not letting somebody with a blue color or a red color or this flag or that flag make the decisions for you. Are we too lazy to think in this country? I sure hope not, but it's really looked a lot like that in the last several years, and quite a while, but it's gotten really bad. And I can sit there and explain all that to you too, and I'll do this in future videos if we have time. I'll explain to you the reasons behind Twitter and all that. You know, just a brief on it. You know, they wanted you to get used to, I think it's 165 letters. I don't know. I don't use the stupid thing. But they want to shorten your thoughts. They want to shorten your thought processes and your attention span. That was the purpose of Twitter. Okay? They want to destroy the English language. They want to... We'll save it for future videos. I'll show you. I'll walk you through it. Because a lot of people... I can't convince them to start going down these rabbit holes themselves. And if I got to hold your hand and take you down the rabbit holes, I don't mind doing it. Just pay attention. Alright? Look, I'm running over. That's about all I can muster for this evening. I hope that I at least somewhat came close to convincing you that I'm not crazy. This stuff is real. It's going on. It's no longer a theory. It's most definitely a conspiracy, but it's a conspiracy fact. Okay? And the people that are watching what's going on, they're just trying to get the information out to you. And I myself, I want to have my house in order. And I don't want to disappoint God. I see these things going on. I know these things are going on. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. I'm just not. Blood is not going to be on my hands. It's not. Ezekiel 3. Read it and understand it. And understand why I'm doing this. Alrighty, folks. I love you. Really do. I wouldn't be here if I didn't. You guys have a good night. God bless you. May God walk with you. Always be one with your spirit. Always. That means go listen to your heart. Listen to God speak through your heart to you. That's what I'm saying with that. Be one with your spirit. Listen to your heart. Turn off the TV. Stop listening to your buddies. Listen to your heart. Let God speak to you. Let Him in. And listen. Be one with your spirit. Good evening.